For people who live in rural communities or on farms, an important source of local news is often a weekly newspaper. Tonight, Global's Terry Culbert looks at the Dundalk Herald, a paper with more than a century of journalism behind it.
Dundalk is a farming community in Grey County. With a population of 1,400, this quiet country village with a low crime rate is a great place to raise children. To bring this area of the world into perspective, you just have to look at the front page of the Dundalk Herald. For hard news, there's an article of the Dundalk bakery van that flipped over on Grey County Road 9. No one was hurt. Then on the same page, but on a lighter side, is a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Earl Walton celebrating a double birthday. Mrs. Walton is 80, and her husband Earl turned 85. Finally, also on the first page, a photo of Florence and Lloyd Young cutting an anniversary cake celebrating 40 years in the food business. The Dundalk Herald first went to print in the 1880s. It's been in this location for 80 years. Every once in a while, Walter Walls pops in to see how his son Matthew is doing as the new publisher. Walter retired 2 years ago, leaving his 31-year-old son in charge.
My dad bought the paper in 1967, and in those days, I was 7 years old at that time, and in those days, the newspaper industry was like a light industry where you had lead being melted all over the premises and linotypes running and big machines crashing, and it's changed somewhat. Like now it's more of an office where you have computers going and that sort of thing. Like computers do most of your work now.
The old linotype machine has been collecting dust since the paper went to photo offset in 1973. The layout is still done here, but it's now printed in Orangeville. Besides sitting on council for the township of Osprey, Bob Harrison also keeps the paper's computers in running order. Kathy Walls is the newspaper secretary, wife of the publisher, and expectant mother of their third child. Recently elected to the Dundalk Village Council is the newspaper's editor, retired schoolteacher Maxine Copeland. Mary Fowler is the typist receptionist, and she rewrites all the handwritten copy into the computer. Her husband, Merv, has turned his hobby of photography into a freelance job with the Herald.
I think we'll use this one on the front page, Merv. Maybe these two, and we'll put these two on the inside.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And, you always get one with their eyes closed.
Oh,
in a
yeah.
big group like that.
Or one with a head behind another one with two heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
The paper is extremely fortunate to have the talents of cartoonist Jeff Wilson on staff. Jeff grew up on a farm and still runs a few acres near here. Herm Osgood is one of the characters in his weekly comic strip, The Average Farm. The Dundalk Herald has a circulation of 3,000 and covers a radius of 25 miles around the village. One thing you can't argue with is success. Big city papers won't write up the little personals like the Herald does. The ones that tell of the folks visiting from out of town, visiting their friends or relatives here in Grey County. This is important news to a Dundalkian. The Dundalk Herald has a special feature. On your 80th birthday or when you've had your 50th wedding anniversary, they put your picture in the paper for free. Terry Culbert, Global News in Dundalk, Ontario.
And here's our own Bob McAdory with a preview of entertainment.